Hello, everybody on the computer. How are you this morning? Awesome. Okay, can everybody see what's on my screen on the computer? Awesome. All righty, so today we're going to get into number 3 of these modules. I asked everybody in the class, what's up, Nicholas? How are you, bud?
Good. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Eli, how many contacts did you make?
I'm not licensed yet here, so I'm
All
still waiting.
good. No worries. Nicholas, how about you?
So far this week, probably about 5, but I wrote my first offer yesterday.
Hey,
Yeah.
how was that?
It was great. They were asking 125 for a fixer of Encino, and we came in at 13, all cash, like really easy escrow. So I don't know. I think it's a really strong offer. I'm really hoping it gets accepted.
Are they reviewing offers today?
Offers are due on Friday. We have the offering within like 48 hours of it being listed in MLS. But,
Perfect.
So yeah, just holding my breath until they do.
So, by the way, what I'm about to say, sometimes it just doesn't work. They just go, it doesn't matter. We're reviewing everything on Friday. But sometimes you can write an offer that has a time expiration. And so, for example, the escrow that I'm in right now, they were like 200K over asking. And all the other ones that were coming in were like, good, they were over asking, but they weren't like that. There was like $100,000 gap, basically. Actually, best case was a $50,000 gap. So anyway, we went ahead and like we said, everybody, we're going to review on Wednesday, but because of that, he was a lawyer. So I felt like he was going to be kind of, a stickler on that. So we went ahead and accepted it. So it helps sometimes.
It's an interesting strategy. I definitely considered it, but I just didn't want to, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a pretty strong offer as it is. So I wanted to give them time to review.
Yep. That makes sense, because you know what sometimes that also does, it creates an uneasy feeling with the sellers are like, they're putting us under the gun. I don't like that.
Put any more pressure on them.
Yeah, I hear you. That's my thought process, frankly. Okay, so I think we're on number 3, right, everybody? Or are we on 4? We're on 3, right?
Yep. 3.
Yeah, okay. Just the beginning looked very similar to the last one to me. Okay, very cool. So everybody on the call. So I'm going to go just down the list from the way I see it. Gerardo, how many contacts have you made? I think you're on silent. You're on mute.
There, can you hear me?
Yeah, how do I turn that off? How are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hi, since Monday, I have
Anybody hear that? Sorry, we're on an external speaker, and the speaker is just like, Let me try somebody else real quick. It might be the connection. All right, Mariella.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
You
How
hear
many
me?
contacts did you make? Yes.
I made 14, 2 answers, and one said to call him next week.
Sorry, so everybody who's on the call, unfortunately, the speaker that we have right now, it's just we're not able to hear. Everybody on the call, we might have to just type in questions for the class. But unfortunately for us, we have this weird speaker. Okay. All right, everybody. So everybody who's on the call, just so you know, our speaker is really bad. It's like not working right now. So if you could just type in your numbers into the chat, send them on over, and we're just going to get started from here. And away we go. All righty. So Nicholas and Elliot, let me ask you a question. Can you two do what's on the screen right here and role play that out for the class. No worries.
So yeah.
Awesome. So Ellie, you'll be the person he's calling.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry, I was talking to him.
I know. So he's going to be calling you as an agent, and you're going to be the person he's calling.
Okay,
All right. And try to, when we're reading this, pause where it's appropriate, have a dialogue where it's appropriate. Try
am I
to be as,
seller or a buyer?
we'll find out. I don't know. I haven't read this one yet. So
Hi, Ellie. My name is Nicholas with Keller Williams Realty. Your name was given to me by a close friend of both of ours, Jim, and he said that I should give you a call. Is right now a good time to talk to you for a couple minutes?
Of course, go ahead, please.
Excellent. Bob said that you were thinking about buying or selling a home in Encino and asked if I would please give you a call. He said that I both want to make certain that you are in great hands and that you have the very best. So that's why I'm calling. Since everyone likes to know what houses are selling for, I'd like to share my real estate app with you. You can see what's going on anywhere from your street to any place in North America. It's free and no cost to you. I can send you a text with a link to it. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds really nice. Thank you so much.
Great. Have you seen anything that you like thus far?
I am selling, I'm thinking about selling my house and moving to a bigger house and upgrade. So I need to sell my house first before I buy it.
Okay, great. When are you planning to move?
Well, as soon as I sell my house and I find something, but I do not want to sell before I find something.
Okay, good to know. Are you working with another agent or have you listed with another agent?
I've spoken to other agents, but I don't have any written agreement.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So the next step is for us to get together and I can answer all of your questions and explain how the entire process works. It will only take about 20 minutes. Can we meet today or would tomorrow be better for you?
I think tomorrow will be good. Maybe by the end of the day, if you can.
Okay, I understand. Just so you know, I have a wealth of interesting and timely information about the real estate market in your area, and I'd love to send it over to you. Let me make sure I have your current email and address. And do me a favor, please, if you hear of someone with a good real estate need, will you please keep me in mind?
Sure, I will.
Great. And after you download the app and try it out, send me a text and let me know how you like it. I'd really appreciate that.
Okay, I will.
Awesome. Thank you for your time today. And please let me know if there's anything else I can ever do for you.
Thank you so much.
awesome. So let's talk about that real quick. So for example, if we're talking with somebody, even if the script doesn't say so, I want to try to get in the habit, and right now is okay because we're just reading it verbatim. But in the next couple classes, I'm going to hope that we can, for example, if he says, yeah, let's meet tomorrow, to go, awesome. Let me get your address and actually do that, schedule the appointment. Because when we start actually cold calling and all that fun stuff, when we hear somebody say that, we want to just immediately get off the script, make the appointment, schedule the appointment, and then we can pretty much end the conversation right there. We pretty much have what we want at that point. So once we get the address, we confirm a time for the appointment. We ask that if all the decision makers are going to be present. Once we go from there, then we can pretty much just kind of end the convo and just say, great, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at X time or whatever. Again, while we're first doing these, right now, not so important. I want us to get used to doing the scripts and whatnot. But in the future, next couple of classes, I'm going to start going, try to, if they schedule an appointment, schedule it and just move forward from there. All right. Sounds good. Cool. All righty. Let's go on down over here. Let's do a couple more.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If the seller tells you exactly what I just said, that I need to buy something, but I have to sell first, how do you combine?
So what I would do in that situation is I typically will ask, well, that's great. So you feel that you need to sell before you're able to buy, but you want to find the house first before you list the property. Interesting. So we're asking to do two things that are literally opposing ideas from each other at the exact same time. So I would ask them, just out of curiosity, how serious are you about this? Because if you really want to buy something, but you need to find the house that you like first before you're able to list your property, do you realize that's going to weaken your offer? And they'll go, what do you mean? Well, if you have to sell before you're able to buy, but you need to find the house that you want to buy before you want to sell, by the time you put your house on the market, that house is likely going to be in escrow already. Oh, shit. Yeah. So why don't we do this? If we're able to list your property, I'll be able to give you a list of all the potential properties that you could buy. Hopefully one is in there that you like. But more importantly, what we can do then at that point is when we write an offer, we can at least say that the house is already listed. So the house is already on the market, it's already for sale. Also, the other thing that I want to bring caution to you is that if you decide to make an offer on a property, but it's contingent on the sale of your home, what is that going to turn into? It's going to turn into a situation where it's forced for you to likely underprice your property because you need to get it sold as quickly as possible. So whenever I'm dealing with a seller who wants to do something like that, what happened there? All right, cool. So whenever you're dealing with a seller who wants to do it that way, I like to just like go through the process with them of like actually what it takes to write an offer, what it takes to get into escrow and all of those things, because they don't really know how it works. And they're basically asking you to do it in reverse. Now, if it was, for example, a buyer's market, that might be a little bit easier for somebody to do that. They can go wait, look for the property that they like. There's a lot of properties for sale, for example. There's not a lot of competition. Then you may be able to swing that. But in today's market, it really doesn't make sense. Now, unless somebody says, I can finance this completely cash. It's not contingent on the sale of my house. I just don't want to list my house until I find the property. And by the by, yes, I'm paying all cash and it's not contingent on the sale. Then yeah, fine, you can do that all day. But I caution, to us as agents, that person might be wasting our time a lot because it's like they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're like, I want to do it, but I don't really want to do it. Maybe.
So basically, you ask them to sell the house first before they look for anything.
Absolutely.
What if they tell you, okay, I'm gonna sell my house? What if I don't find it?
You make
I'll be
it contingent on you finding a replacement property. So a buyer is much more, especially in this market, a buyer is going to be much more willing to enter into an escrow with somebody and have it contingent upon them finding a replacement property. And better yet, you can do something such as a rent back or something like that, lease back to the new buyers. And so technically, you're still living in your house. You're paying rent to the new owners, or you just extend the escrow for, an extended escrow period of time. And that way, the buyers are happy because they know they're going to eventually get the house. The seller's happy because they're able to stay on their property. And then also they're able to really write legitimate offers on other properties, because most people who are selling, the purchase of another property is going to be contingent on selling their house. So unless it's already listed, put it like this: if I'm a listing agent and somebody writes an offer on my property and they say, hey, we really love this house, we want to write an offer, but by the by, it's contingent on the sale of their existing property. Okay, great. Is it listed yet? Oh no, it's not listed yet. So wait a second. I'm going to accept your offer right now and then hope that you accept an offer on your property in the next 2 weeks. So that's just extending our escrow. But let's say the other offer is, let's say it's even $10,000 less than this offer, right? I'm still going to probably point my clients in the other direction because it's a sure deal. It's not contingent on them finding it, selling their house. It's not contingent on them getting the cash from the sale to put it into this property. They already have it. They're ready to go. So my point is I would probably advise my sellers, hey, I know this offers $10,000 less, but they don't have to sell their property. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but my question again is, how do you get that client? He wants to buy something and he wants to sell his property.
Yeah, I know.
Transaction.
I
How
understand.
can I get him to work with me and I don't waste time?
So again, I would go through.
Win-win situation for everyone.
No, I understand that. I would go through the process, however, of what it takes to buy a house. And if they say, I have all cash, then great. Then yeah, then you go ahead and work with the client, go work with them, find them the property, and you find a property, you write an offer, and you're done. If they don't have the cash and they need to sell their house to finance their loan or to finance the down payment or whatever, then I'm going to have the conversation and explain to them, do you realize that in writing this offer, if we find the house that you love and you write an offer on this property, you don't have the cash to be able to put down until you sell your house. So why are we looking for something that we may or may not find when we don't even have your property listed yet? So if we are serious about this and we really want to, go the most successful strategy, we should likely just put your house on the market, list it, and make it contingent upon you finding a replacement property. That way, if you don't find a replacement property, you're all good, but
Yeah, would the other seller accept it in this market? I mean,
again, you're still under the gun a little bit. To be honest, I would also and just in the interest of time, I would also go through a couple different scenarios. One scenario is we list your property now, we try to look for offers, we accept an offer, it's contingent on you finding a replacement property. We're already 2 weeks into escrow. They're able to do all their investigations. They're able to look at the appraisal. They're able to get all this stuff done. So now when you're writing offers, you're able to say, hey, we're already in escrow. The appraisal's done, the inspection's done, all contingencies are removed except for us finding a replacement property for our seller. So this is our offer. Clearly, we're good to close once we accept this escrow. And once we close this escrow, we'll have 2 transactions closed simultaneously. Does that make sense? And so then that way you're able to, go ahead and write those offers and make that, actual purchase because you're already halfway, to the finish
we
line.
still need to get them pre-approved, right?
Right, yes. Now, on the alternative, the other option is somebody who is, financially they're stable, they're willing to sell their property to buy this other property. I may recommend them, doing an Airbnb for a couple months or something like that. Sell the house, get into a nice Airbnb, be very, very comfortable in this new property for a month or two until they can find their replacement property. Some people are going to be, usually younger people are willing to do that.
Or lease back probably would be the best for older couple.
Correct. Yeah. Most older couples would rather do a lease back. So there's a bunch of different options and I would go through all those scenarios, but I would never recommend, it's not a winning strategy in today's market to look for a house to buy, find that house, write an offer, and then list their property. It's just not, it could.
Unless it's cash.
Unless it's cash. I mean, it could work if, for example, the property is like overpriced by $100,000 and there's zero competition on the property, and your client happened to fall in love with this property. They go, I don't care if it's 100,000 overpriced. I'm going to write an offer on this. It might work. That it could. So I'm not going to say don't do it. I'm just saying be aware of the process that we're going to be going into because it's involved. It's not a straightforward kind of thing. Hold on. Why is this not working? So frustrating. There we go. All righty. Okay. All right. Moving on down. Let's skip all this kind of stuff because I got to get out of here by 12:40. Okay. So handwritten notes. Remember, we were always talking about whenever we're doing our daily 10-4. The first thing in the daily 10-4 is making 10 contacts per day. The second thing in the daily 10-4 is to write a handwritten note, or in my world, I say also a text message, an email, a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, or whatever, what have you. Usually what I like to do is those handwritten notes are usually the day after I contacted 10 people. So it's usually the people that I contacted a day ago and I'm writing them a note, the day after. And usually the note is something, it could be one of these, or it could just be, hey, listen, I really enjoyed our conversation that we had. Thanks for sharing with me about, the news about your kids and, moving to blah, 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 blah. I'm sure they're going to love it there. But hey, listen, if you have any other questions or concerns, please give me a call. I'd love to be of assistance. Once again, this is Jared McLinsky with Keller Williams Beverly Hills. Now, they could talk about something else. I'm just using that as an example. Try to make it a little bit personal. Pick something that you guys kind of chit-chatted about. Maybe it wasn't real estate related. Maybe it was all real estate related. In that case, just say something like this. But it's a really good way to build rapport with your potential clients. What is the fuck? I have no idea what's going on. That's not my computer. That's funny. There we go. Okay, so handwritten notes. This can be found in the online in this section. You could literally print it out. It's in your book, and if you would like to, feel free to go ahead and print that out and use that as your handwritten notes. Okay, let's see. Get your head in the game. So for everybody on the call right now, you can, and in the class, you can see the answers right there. This is the instructor edition. It's all good. Why is active lead generation so important? Active lead generation ensures that not only will you get business quickly, but when done consistently, it also ensures a steady stream of business. Said another way, active lead generation turns the feast or famine cycle that most agents go through and creates a steady upward increase in business. This is absolutely very true. During the summer, I had quite a few, deals going. It was great. It was awesome. Now I'm in escrow. It's $2.2 million property. Woohoo, yay me. But now my big question is, where's my next client coming from? I took my foot off the gas a little bit. So the point is it's really important to constantly be lead generating and not just when you don't have a client. And mainly because this does happen every single time you take your foot off the gas. All of a sudden you close a deal, you're super stoked, and then you're like, crap, where's my next business going to come from? So my strongest recommendation, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing, is to always be lead generating, because myself included, I'm in that situation right now. Now, does a commission of a $2.2 million house kind of give me a little bit of a floater? Yeah, absolutely. Great. But I don't want to get used to that at all, because I'm always kicking myself in the butt whenever I do that. And I'm like, God damn it, I got to go back to the door knocking again. And it's like, once you stop something, it's harder to get back into it. You stop going to the gym for a week, you try to hit those weights again. Oh, you're humbled real quickly. So, keep in action, keep doing the lead generation, because the best of the best in this business, they absolutely do. All righty. What do you think is different about lead generation of successful agents compared to their not so successful peers? The difference between successful and not so successful agents is that successful agents make lead generation a daily habit and set out to master the skills, systems, and tools of lead generation. Kobe Bryant, he's notorious for showing up to the practices early or the games early just so he can practice a couple shots, and then he's notorious for after the games to work on shots that he let's say missed in the middle of the game. LeBron James does the same kind of stuff. So I mean, the best of the best are constantly trying to improve their skills, and that's what we should be doing as well. All righty, make it happen. Lead generation is job number one. This is my favorite little diagram right here. Prospecting is the quickest and most productive way to get leads and appointments for business. The quantity of leads and the quality of appointments you obtain is a direct reflection of your prospecting effort. Remember, the daily 10-4 has lead generation built into the formula. You do this daily to build a habit of doing what's most important for your business above all else, or before all else. So this little pictogram right here is one of my favorites. It starts with leads, and just imagine lead generation as a huge funnel. The more leads we get, the more appointments we get, the more appointments and more agreements, the more contracts, and the more paydays that we actually have in a year. Obviously, the payday is the name of the game, and we want to make sure that we're doing it. So honestly, in my opinion, if you're a door knocker, I would say try to hit 100 doors per day, if you can. If you can't, and maybe you're a little out of shape, you're going up hills and stuff, try to do 50. And if you can't do that, try to do 25. And the reason why I say 100 per day is if you want one lead per day, in my experience, you got to knock on 100 doors. Once you hit 100 doors, you'll get one lead. And that has shown true for me, at least in almost every neighborhood I've gone into. If I hit 100 doors, I should be able to expect one person saying, yeah, you know what? I have been thinking about selling. Yeah, you're Keller Williams? Huh, okay. Yeah, and then I would say, well, do you mind if I take a look inside? I'd really love to get, the lay of the land of your home, and nobody can show somebody else's property like the current homeowner. I'd love to see it through your eyes and see how it compares to the other properties that have hit the market. Then after I see the property, I would love to be able to go back to my office, prepare a comparative market analysis. I can come meet up with you over here tomorrow and we can review it and see what the next steps are. And usually they'll go, come on in, and I'll go in, we'll have a little chit chat, they'll show me around the property and.
Give them your business card first, so that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but honestly, if you don't care about a business card, that doesn't mean you're legit, you know? A lot of people can print out a business card, you know, I can go on, you
So
know,
how do they trust that you're okay? I mean. they can
just don't
plan.
seem like a shady weirdo. I'm kidding. No, I'm serious, but unfortunately, that is the uphill battle. Not everybody's gonna trust us, and that's okay. Like, we can't let that get into our minds because I don't think I'm awkward, but you know, when I'm nervous, I could come off as a little bit awkward or a little standoffish. That's normal. And so my point is that yes, some people are gonna go, I don't know you from Adam, get off my property. I've had that multiple times. But guess what? I don't like, you know, write home about it. Like I just get over it. You know, it's not a big deal. I just go on to the next property. And I'm not saying that that's easy because believe me, sometimes in this business, there are going to be moments and I've had them. Absolutely. I just had it recently. Like when I realized like, oh crap, I need to start lead generating again. I myself go, oh man, I don't want to do this. But guess what? It's part of the business. And the people who are the best at this business just have to be able to push that out of their mind and go on to the next one. You know, I remember this one gentleman, there we go. This one gentleman, I knocked on his door. You know, I'm Jewish. It's only pertinent to this story because of how it happened. But I knock on his door and I see, I'm not very, what is it? The mezuzah? Yeah. And I see that he has a little mezuzah in the front of his, you know, door. So I know that this gentleman's Jewish and knock on his door and, you know, because what do you want? And he's clearly very religious. You know, he had like I forget what it's called, but anyway, he's very religious, I could tell. And I just said, hi, my name's Jared Medlinski. I just want to introduce myself. We have a listing down the street. You know, 80% of buyers who move to a neighborhood tend to know somebody who lives in the current neighborhood. Do you know anybody who's looking to move into this neighborhood? And the guy goes, excuse me, can you please not ever knock on my door again? I have to get back to my real job. Thank you. And just slammed the door on my face. I was like, damn. Called my job not a real job, like insulting my profession. Like, how dare this guy? Kind of shook me up a little bit. I went to the next house. I kept doing it, whatever. So I go back to the property after we sell the house, and we're also we just sold the property for actually well over asking. Originally, we were getting offers at like 1.2 million. It was horrible. We, you know, didn't put it on the market yet. That was when it was off market. We staged the whole property, did a couple upgrades, not really even upgrades. We just painted it, like, you know, the inside and the outside, you know, just freshened it up a bit. And then we started receiving offers around 1.7. So, you know, 1.2 to 1.7. Oh man, I was happy camper. So we sold the house. It was great, slam dunk. I went around the neighborhood again, just to door knock one more time, just to say, hey, just want to let everybody know that we sold this property for this. Originally, we got offers at that, and we sold at this. Do you know anybody who's interested in taking advantage of today's market? And I came up to this guy's door again, and I knock on his door, and I'm
Same
like,
guy?
yep. And I'm like, hey, sorry, don't want to bother you with my fake job or anything like that. But that house I was talking about, we sold it for 1.7. Originally, we were getting offers at 1.2. I just wanted to come and just let you know what a great job that we did. And, you know, sorry to bother you, but just in case you did happen to know somebody. And all of a sudden he goes, I'm sorry. I came off really rude the other day. Just kind of was in the middle of something. Wow, that's a really good job. I'm really impressed. To be honest, I'm actually a renter. So this isn't actually even my house. But if I know of anybody, I'll happy to let you know. I'm like, well, thanks. Really appreciate that. And then I got to walk away and go, this mother effer doesn't even own this place. And he's acting like he's the SHIT. You know, so my point is yes, that guy was very rude to me and he was a jerk. Maybe he's insecure. Maybe he's insecure about something else in his life. Maybe his wife just left him. I don't know. And we don't know. So when people are typically mean or aggressive towards us, or, you know, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you, agent, it's probably something else that's going on in their life. Do you really get that bothered when somebody knocks on your door? Not really. I mean, it's an inconvenience, I guess, but if you're sitting at home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not like you got much going on anyway. So it's not a big deal. So my point is don't let it get to you. It's gonna happen. But we just gotta move past it. Yes.
When you're knocking on his door, don't you think some other brokerage firm is doing the same thing?
Yep.
So he's getting more than one agent knocking on his door.
Yeah.
How is he gonna determine which company?
Because I'm amazing. To be honest, it's, these are a lot of questions. Of course, they're valid, but you just kind of have to have your confidence. Listen, how many times have I, talked to a pretty girl that I liked and just found out that she was not interested, but she was interested in my friend. Oh, well, it is what it is. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, it is what it is. And it's not a big deal. We move past it and, we move on. There's a lot of what ifs, I'd rather look for the what if I don't knock on their door. What if I walk by this house and don't knock on it, and then all of a sudden I see a for sale sign in the yard in a week from now? I don't like that one, So yes. That's all good.
Okay, so how do you determine if you're gonna go do 100 doors? Well, how do you determine where you're gonna go?
So typically you want to find a neighborhood that has a good turnover rate. Anything above 7% is decent. In Los Angeles, however, right now, because the sales, there's not been a lot of listings lately, that has driven that number down considerably in a lot of neighborhoods. Every 10 years, you should have a 7% turnover rate. That's a phenomenal, number. There are some places that have up to 10% turnover rate. So when I talk about my 1 out of 100 doors, well, there you have it right there. So those are the type of neighborhoods that I'm going to be looking out for. And you can find that out through title. So hope that helps. Title is one of your best bets for trying to find turnover rates and stuff like that.
Okay.
All right. And then also, just your neighborhood, make it easy on yourself, don't make it overcomplicated. If you live in a neighborhood, you like the neighborhood you live in, the neighborhood you live in, you're able to say, hey, I know the grocery store over here. I know the little mom and pop shops over there. I know all the little food restaurants around in the neighborhood. Yeah, definitely work in that neighborhood. And even if the turnover rate isn't as high. And then plus, if the turnover rate isn't as high, there's probably less agents, servicing that area because they look that up and they're going, oh, I don't want to bother door knocking in this neighborhood because the turnover rate's not high
But
enough.
what about, I live in a neighborhood where there's like 2 realtors who basically seem to have a lock on it.
Well, you know what? Every single time I hear there's 2 realtors who have a lock on something, I can guarantee you there's a bunch of people who live there who think they're really annoying.
But they are.
Yeah.
I've dealt with them for years. So
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay.
Be the unannoying version. So that's simple. All righty. 4 C's of prospecting. Prospecting is a conversation. It's all about creating the kind of, well, again, this is not on. Nope. There we go. Okay, 4 C's of prospecting. Prospecting is a conversation. Remember that. It's a conversation. It's all about creating the kind of personal connections that will lead to purposeful relationships you can build a business on. You make prospecting happen through 4 simple steps. Capture. You want to capture their information. So whether it's, friends that you already know, a service like Mojo Dialer or something, or you're going through title to get, addresses of homes that, I want all the addresses of the people who recently have been divorced. I want all the addresses of people who've lived in their property for over 10 years. I want all the addresses that have lived in, in this specific area. Great. Capture the information. You're going to want to connect with them in some way. That's either a knock, a call, an email, a direct message, smoke signals, I don't care. Whatever it is, you're going to connect with them. Once you connect with them, we're either going to cultivate that relationship until they're ready to rock and roll, or we're going to go ahead and close an agreement. So for example, if it's a buyer, we're going to close a buyer agreement. We're going to try for one at least. Some buyers will not sign one, but it is what it is. We're going to try to close for a listing agreement, stuff like that. So main thing is we want to capture, connect, cultivate, and close. Very important stuff there. Okay. Now, when we're trying to capture information, the more information we have, the better. If we have their address, that's great. But we also want their phone number and we also want their email address. So that's why I might want to go knock on that person's door. If we just have their email or their phone number, we want to get their address. We want to know where they live. Why? Because we want to be able to service and send them information that's pertinent to them. If they live in, you know, for example, I've done deals in Santa Barbara. If I have my, you know, client Victoria, who's in Santa Barbara in my CRM system, but I don't write that she's living in Santa Barbara and I don't have her address in there, and I start sending her information about Beverly Hills, she's probably not going to be opening up my emails very often. She's going to be like, well, great, I'm happy what's going on in Beverly Hills, but I don't live there. So, you know, these are all very important stuff. And the more information we have, the better. Not only is it good to have all that information just so we can, for example, you know, be a little bit more detail oriented in our marketing efforts, but also we're going to be able to contact them in multiple ways. So for example, we'll be able to call them, we'll be able to send them text messages, we'll be able to send them emails. This is also another form of like circle prospecting. You want to be able to get them in all, you know, different fronts. You want to be in their emails, you want to be in their text messages, you want to be in their phone calls, and you want to be dropping flyers off on their doorstep. So basically, when they think real estate, they think, oh, that annoying realtor Jared, but he's persistent. And persistence is usually pretty good if I'm trying to sell a house. Yeah, let's give him a shot. Let's have that conversation. So you want to continue that conversation with those people. Sounds good. Okay.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay. Connect. You know, whenever we're connecting with people for prospecting purposes, we're going to be going over the who, what, where, why, when, and how. So basically, if you would please tell me a little bit about your family, job, life, etc. Who? So these are very important questions to ask. You know, if they have kids, why are they moving? Is it for a school system? Is it because their kid's best friend lives in a neighborhood and they want to be closer to their friends? You know, whatever. It could be a plethora of reasons for people. I just want to make sure I'm sharing the screen correctly. Yeah.
Sorry, please send again the link of this structure. I will have it here.
Yeah, sure. Are you on the Zoom right now?
I can.
Yeah, jump on the Zoom real quick and I'll put it in. It's already in the chat box, but I'll put it in again. So let's move on down real quick. Then the close. These are some fun ones. Whenever we're doing closes, there's a couple different ways we can close. There's a hard close, a soft close, a direct close, an indirect close, the trial close. I think you would agree that we have gone over enough today. That meeting would be our next step. You know, it's a trial close. The hard close, let's meet. That's simple. But eventually, at some point in the conversation, we want to have a close. Let's meet for an appointment. Let's get to it. Read a couple of these over, figure out what's best for you, what's in your vernacular, what you feel comfortable saying. But also, you just know that there's other ways to talk to different people. Some people are going to be a little bit more direct. You know, some people are a little bit bashful, a little bit shy. Hey, I think maybe we should meet. It seems like this would be the next step. Don't you agree? And having them to have those, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and meet. So these are very important things to have, but also kind of use ones that you feel are going to work best with the personality type that we're dealing with. Okay, now in cultivating, this is where our CRM really comes out and shines. Whenever we're trying to cultivate these relationships, we want to make sure that we are adding them into some form of a drip system, whether that be email, text message blast, whatever. We just want to make sure that we're ending up in their inbox, their emails, their whatever, in a consistent, you know, methodical basis. And also include, you know, some phone calls, because I really do think voice to voice is a much better way to connect with people. All righty. So your sphere of influence. Let's talk about sphere of influence real quick. How many people in the classroom right now, how many people do you think you know in Los Angeles?
So how many people?
How many people in Los Angeles do you think you know?
5 million.
5 million people. All right, I like that answer. I like that answer. So you know 5 million people?
Oh, how many people I know?
Yeah.
Maybe 500.
500, okay. How many people do you think you know in Los Angeles?
Well, how well? I mean, you talk about just.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone.
How many people do you know?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about things like my kid's Cub Scout troop when I was a Cub Scout, I mean, people like that, is that what? you-
Sure, yeah.
Oh, God, I suppose could probably come up with 500 to 1,000, but
Yeah.
you know, some of them would go, who the hell is that? I'm sure.
Sure, absolutely. And that's fine. But I like both of your answers though, because you're not limiting yourself, because a lot of people will go, gosh, how many people do I know in LA? I don't know, like 20, maybe 100 if I really stretch it. Well, here's the fun part. And this is what I really like about this slide, is because it kind of goes over it a little bit more in detail. So you have your spouse, your partner, your partner, you have your friends, you have your relatives, you have your neighbors, and you have your immediate family, right? But outside of them, they have past coworkers that they know. They also have hairstylists that you work with. You also have a kid's friend's parents. You also have a mechanic. You also have a mail carrier. You also maybe go to a church or a synagogue or whatever. Your kids' teachers, doctors, bankers, social media networks, KW agents outside of our market. And then we also have, insurance agents. And then we also have all their friends and all the people that they know. So in reality, we're really connected to quite a lot of people in one city. And if we start looking at this, not so much as just the direct people that I know and I have their numbers and all that kind of stuff, think a little bit outside of the box. I go to the doctor's office a couple times a year, why shouldn't I ask my doctor if they know anybody to buy or sell or invest in real estate? I go to them for help. Maybe they need help, selling their house. I've had doctors as clients, and I've been their client. For example, I had one doctor who was looking for properties, and during COVID, he was the person I would always go for my COVID tests, and he wouldn't charge me. It was great. We had a great relationship. It was awesome. So my point is that there's a lot of people that we're not probably thinking of that we could really easily connect with. So keep that in mind. All righty. So your turn, sphere of influence. So I want us to try to figure out on this page, it's pretty great because it gives you a kind of like a calendar, so to speak, or just like a little grid of where you can just write in just some people that you might know in these sections. So if you have an immediate family, my mom, my cousin Adam, his parents, my other cousins who live in LA, I'd write that down. Hobby or sports groups, anybody who goes to my climbing gym, anybody who goes to my actual gym, personal services or whatever. My barber, I could probably hit him up. Home and auto repair, my mechanic's down the street, I should probably be talking to him. Teachers, maybe I can go to past teachers, that I went to school here. Church or club, volunteer places, real estate agent, etc. Go ahead and take a moment, try to fill those out. Just try to jog your memory a little bit. And that way it's a little bit more clear when you're reaching out to people. All right, time blocking with the 3-3. So first we want to prepare. Second, we want to take action. And 3, we want to maintain. So when we're preparing, we want to prep the call list. We want to know exactly who we're going to be calling. We want to say affirmations to focus on the big why. Whenever we're doing the power sessions with Josh, we do affirmations, gets you all pumped up and ready to rock and roll. Do that before you're doing a phone call. Practice your scripts before you get on the call. Read it through 3 or 4 times. Just get used to reading it. So when you're on the call, you're able to, go right for it. Take action, prospect. This damn screen. We want to prospect and we want to update our database. So while we're taking action, while we are calling these people, we want to make sure that we're also updating our database simultaneously, adding anybody that we talk to into our database so we can follow up with them and keep up with them. All right, so maintain, we want to track our results, schedule commitments, and write thank you notes. Again, like I mentioned, try to get in the habit of writing personal notes to people, whether it's text message, email, or handwritten. It's a good step. It's a good 1-2 punch. Okay, we're gonna watch this video real quick. This is actually my favorite video in all of these courses because it's the most practical and it's the most direct. You're gonna notice a couple things about this video and I'm gonna wanna discuss it with everybody in the class. And I'm sorry, everybody on the call. I know the volume is not working. So whenever we're talking back and forth, I can't hear a thing that anyone's saying. So we're going to go ahead and watch this video. I'm going to point out some of the things that stood out to me, and I'm going to ask you two gentlemen what stood out to you. and we'll compare and contrast. 1 second. Oops.
Cool. So I'll say where we're from and then you give production.
Oops.
Is that all right? Hi, my name is Dylan Provencher.
I'm Sean Provencher.
We're from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We're the Real Estate Brothers.
2000.
Let me get this on our screen as well. Sorry about that, gentlemen. Hmm. One sec. There we go. Okay. Where'd it go? Here we are. Is this popping up? Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this real quick, and then we'll have a quick discussion.
2014, we wrote 72 transactions for $47 million.
Sean and I are very lucky because we're actually very entrepreneurial in sales. So we were able to just sort of survive by luck and by just sort of being likable and nice.
We had a decent business that wasn't growing.
We did a lot of door knocking originally, but what we found was with bad weather, plus you have to drive to door knock, it was just too much of a wild card.
If we were to grow the business, we needed to add people to our database, and if we were going to do that, we needed a systematic way that we knew we could achieve results that were predictable. So we just kind of started cold calling.
About 3 hours a day, and we found that the results were phenomenal.
Come take a look where we've been this whole time.
You can literally do it from your kitchen.
It's just more time effective.
Yeah.
If you're cheap like we are, you don't want to spend a ton of money on the web or in print. Telephone lines, you pay a monthly bill and you can call all you want. Why don't you come in here, I'll show you the cold calling room. We've got a map where we've broken the entire city into zones. We like to target areas where we have buyers.
It's been scrubbed to the do not call list, and it still represents over 250,000 phone numbers. All of our desks have 3 monitors. We have Mojo in the middle, we have our scripts on the right, and then on the left,
Do some research on the house they're calling for, stuff like that. Cold calling is like adding jet fuel to your car or something. Like it pumps your business up.
we went from making,
What was our first year? Like 70K. And then this year together we did $1.1 million. So this is Sean calling from the Real Estate Brothers. You know what, I'm so sorry to bug you today, but I just noticed that you live. You have to treat cold calling as though it's an appointment. If you don't prioritize it, things will always find their way in and block you from being able to do it. It's the most important thing you can do for your business.
absolutely most important, and you have to quantify it as well. The bold 100 contacts a week is a really, really cool way
To set a bar.
To set a bar and get started and stick to it, whatever your decision is.
I was just wondering, is anything changed in your plans? Are you still thinking this great to get it on the market?
You can't think today was a bad cold calling day because today doesn't matter. What matters is what you accomplish in a year. And if you just keep adding people to your database and systematically follow up with them and take care of the people who you work for, you'll do great.
You're not always going to have great success every day, but it's by doing it every day that you have great success.
We're going to be in the neighborhood for the next 2 weeks giving free evaluations. You know what I'd love to do?
I'll say too that one thing that we were afraid of, and I think everyone is just the rejection side of things. People being mean to you on the phone and rude. We have this saying with our team that you're either part of our future or part of our past, and either way it's fine. The people who are rude to us are obviously not going to be part of our future.
Have a chuckle about it. Like honestly, when someone cusses at me or something, I just laugh because it's funny.
Do you think that it might make sense for us to book something tentatively for the weekend?
The more time you spend not on the phone, you're losing money because that 3 hours of my day is my 20% where I make my money.
Don't get ready to start thinking about how you're going to eventually do something. Just do it. Like
Just do
get
it.
done.
Stop watching this video, get off your butt and go start dialing numbers and talking to people. Just get on the phone.
Yeah, and if you hate money, don't do it.
Yeah.
I think.
All righty.
Cool. So I'll say
Oops. Okay, so let's talk about that video real quick. What are some things that stood out in that video?
We're just putting time aside every day. That's a way easily. I was not in the habit of that.
Right.
Obviously.
So, Nicholas, anything that stood out for you?
Um, It's just, it just leads to money. I mean, not taking things personally, like if someone's rude to you, you just move on to the next person. Don't be sensitive about it. Just next.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I think of what they said was something along the lines of like, it doesn't matter what you accomplish in a day, it matters what you accomplish in the year. So some days of cold calling, they're going to suck. Some days door knocking, they're going to suck. They like door knocking originally, but they stopped doing it because they're based in Canada. So I have a feeling they have a lot, you know, different weather systems than we do personally. We have sun almost, you know, 90% of the year. So, you know, we're able to door knock pretty frequently over here. Cold calling is honestly one of the quickest, most efficient ways to get in front of people, or at least to have a conversation with people. I will admit, I've noticed that a lot of the numbers that I used to be able to get, I'm not able to get anymore because a lot of people are on the national do not call list. But still, like they said, they scrub it against the do not call list and they're still getting quite a few numbers. So keep in mind, cold calling is a volume act. It is not a targeted, you know, I mean, it can be, but it's typically not a super high targeted, you know, action. It's typically, hey, I have 1,000 numbers in this one neighborhood. I'm going to call all 1,000 of these people. Some people are going to be, you know, a kid's cell phone that is under the parent's name. I get those a couple times. I'll be like, hi, is John blah, blah, blah there? No, this is their daughter. It's like, oh, sorry, is this your cell phone? Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Take care. You know, and you know, you throw that number away. But the point is, though, is eventually you are going to get a hold of John eventually, because there are 5 different numbers listed under John. You know, whoever, I'm just making up a name. But the point is cold calling is one of the most effective ways to get into conversations with people as quickly as possible. I will say this, cold calling can be a difficult conversion. So again, it is a volume activity. Now, some people do like to get very precise and exacting with their cold calling. So for example, they'll go for sale by owners and cold call them. They'll go for, you know, what's the one I'm looking for sale by owners, just recently off markets. So for example, a property that was for sale, but now it's off market. So a lot of people like to target those people. So you can be fairly targeted with cold calling. I personally think the best action is to just find a geographic farm, a neighborhood that you're already in, but maybe a place that you're door knocking or you know, dropping flyers off at. Also give them a cold call. And then try to have the conversation and just be very direct. You know, cold calling to me is a direct action. You don't have to, you know, get so convoluted and, you know, have a big spiel. Typically, one of the best cold calling teams here in Los Angeles that I'm aware of is the Richard Schulman group, which he's based in the Santa Monica office. And that guy, they just call. And he did a seminar over here once, or a class once, where he just basically gave us his script. And his script was pretty much this. Hi, this is Jared and I'm not with the Richard Schulman's group, but hi, this is Jared with the Richard Schulman group. I just wanted to call and ask if you or anybody you know is interested in taking advantage of the opportunities presented in today's market. And then he waits for them to say something and he's silent. And then eventually they go, I'm sorry, one more time. Yeah, sorry. Once again, I'm Jared Medlinski. I'm with the Richard Schulman Group. I'm just calling to see if you or anybody you know is interested in taking advantage of the opportunities presented in today's real estate market. And it's that simple. And then once they go, well, I don't know, I'm not really thinking of selling. Well, great. You know, do you know anybody who is? And if they say yes, great, go down that path. If they say yes from the get-go, obviously the conversation changes into an appointment. Great, so you are thinking of selling. Have you listed it with an agent yet? Awesome. Have you talked to an agent yet? Awesome. Well, if you're interested in selling, I'd love to come and meet with you to give you a comparative market analysis and discuss the next steps. Are you available today at 2 o'clock or is tomorrow better around the same time? It's that simple. Don't make it overcomplicated because this is a volumes number kind of thing. Now, obviously be human, you know, when you're talking to somebody, if they start talking about something a little bit different, or they're going on a tangent, entertain that conversation, have that convo, build that rapport. But the main goal is to just be direct and try to get the appointment. Do you think being direct works? And this mainly goes for the people who are kind of a little like, oh, I don't know. It does, because, and I'll tell you why. Whenever I'm on Amazon or whatever, if I'm on, CNN.com, or if I'm on Fox News, or I'm on whatever website, over in the right-hand corner, I'm going to see ads for Amazon stuff. It's based off of my search history. Or I might see an ad for a TV show I should watch, or I'm going to see an ad for whatever it might be, just something relevant to my search histories, by this, by that, whatever. And whenever I see that, very often I'll go click on that link and I'll go, oh wait, I was going to buy that on Amazon, but I forgot about it. Thanks, marketing. And I'll go ahead and I'll buy that thing. So if you're cold calling people, a mass group of people, and you know that the 10% turnover rate in that neighborhood, with fairly high certainty that quite a few people are going to end up selling in that neighborhood. And so if you keep going through that list, you're eventually going to hit somebody who just had that conversation with their wife last night or their husband last night going, honey, I think it's time to sell the house. And all of a sudden you come on their line and you call them and you go, hi, this is Jared Medlinski with Keller Williams, Beverly Hills. I'm a real estate agent. I work in your neighborhood, and I just wanted to call and see if anybody is interested in taking advantage of the opportunities presented in today's market. You know what? We were just talking about that last night. So funny that you just called. So yes, it does work, but you also have to make sure you're doing this in volume, and it should be something that is fairly consistent. Okay, just do it. Yes, George, that's exactly right. Commitment, I love it. Awesome. These are the people on the call. Okay, so let's get down into some of the other materials for today. Again, I'm going to be leaving in the next 30 minutes, so we will be done shortly. Let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. Okay, so prepare. So again, whenever we're going to be calling things, if we want to be very exacting, we can prepare lists very, specified to who we're calling. So for example, we're calling referrals. Anybody that we may have a potential referral from, we want to make sure we're calling those people. Your sphere of influence, who's due for a call? When was the last time you talked to friends or family members or whatever? Maybe it's been a month, maybe it's been 2 months. Now's a great time to give them a call and just check in on them. For sale by owners, some agents make their entire career based off of for sale by owners. Definitely go after that if that's one of you. Leads from sign calls or website. So whenever I have a listing, I typically will get 5 or 6 calls, just off of my real estate, signs that are in the neighborhood. And I want to make sure I'm returning those calls, or if I haven't already talked to them. Neighbors or just listeds, just solds, expired or withdrawn listings, allied resources, any past clients, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, we can be very exacting in our calling. So we want to make sure that we are making our scripts appropriate for who we are actually dialing. Okay. So maintain approximately 30 minutes of your daily 3-3 is time spent wrapping up your lead generation with methodical follow-up. Finish entering results into your database, write follow-up notes, track your results, schedule and calendar follow-ups, fulfill promises such as sending any information they requested. So I've had this situation myself where I'm cold calling and somebody says, you know what, I need to talk to, this usually happens when it's older, oh, damn it, older couples. Sorry, one moment, please. There we go. All right. So sometimes I'll call an older, maybe it's a widow or something like that. Maybe it's a husband who lost a wife or whatever, what have you. But they're older. They're in their 80s, let's say, and they're living in their house, and you give them a call. Oftentimes they'll say, I am interested in selling, but I need to talk to my kids. Because maybe they're a little bit older. Kids start, helping the parents out a little bit, and that makes sense. Those people typically ask for, can you send me some information though? A little bit old school, and they want you to send it in the mail. And I was like, I did send it, but it took me like 3 days to just like get down and send it and put it in the mail. The point is that should just be part of our schedule. Once I'm done with my calling, I know that I have 3 more steps to do. I'm not done once I hang up the phone. I have to follow up with any handwritten notes that I said I would send, any information that I would send. And so keep in mind, you want to set an hour aside from cold calling, but then also another hour set aside just for the follow-ups of the people that we just talked to. So for example, a text message, a handwritten note, if they requested information, you want to send it in the mail, or if you got their email, you can just send it to them via email, etc. These are super important things to do because it just turns it into a much more robust calling experience. And it's just, building rapport a little bit more efficiently. Okay, so this is going to be the last video of the class for today. And I think we'll just kind of wrap it up to general questions for everybody who's on the call and anybody who's in the classroom. I told you I'd get you out early today. So let's go ahead and watch this real quick. Let me try to make sure this is being shared correctly on both mediums. Because, gosh, I think I need like a stage manager to help me with this. Hold on. Okay, we're good there. We're good here. And yeah, there's a puppy. All righty, let's watch this.
Lead generation is your #1 job. You have started by calling your Met.
Oh my God.
Your sphere of influence. You have even reached out via social media. But what do you do when you run out of contacts? Where can you find more leads?
Oh my God.
There are many places you can find additional prospecting opportunities.
Okay, well,
Think about your children's sporting events or activities. And don't forget about your own organizations and clubs. Your children's school or PTA would be an excellent source for contacts, as well as your place of worship. Even your mechanic. They rely on referrals for their business.
So that's not working very well. So let's just jump to open conversation. So basically this video is just trying to go deeper into your sphere of influence. We're going to try to find as many people as we can possibly contact. It's going to get into your mechanics, your doctors, your lawyers, your tax professionals, your maids, the person that you see at the gas station attendant all the time. I mean it, everybody. Don't think that a gas station attendant doesn't have a rich uncle, because they might, because they have. I've sold a house through a gas station attendant, and it wasn't his uncle, it was just some lady who walked in, and he overheard her saying that she wanted to buy a house. And he was like, I know Jared. Hey, here's his card. And I swear to God, it happened. So you keep in mind, everybody we talk to is a potential source of income. So for example, my waiter at Portavia, one of my waiters over there, he's approved for a $600,000 house. I'm sure he's been sitting on tip cash money for a while, and good for him. I wouldn't think that, but sure enough, he's a buyer he called me recently saying that he wasn't happy with the agent that he's working with. He's written a few offers. He hasn't received anything. And I said, to be honest, I don't want to say it's all, his fault, because it is a tough market right now for buyers. But I don't want to say that, I'm better than him and then we get into the same issue and we're not getting stuff. So it makes sense that, you didn't get everything, but there are, tools that he might not be utilizing in your offers and stuff like that. So anyway, we might work together, we might not, but he wanted to ask if I could, had any advice that they could do. And I was like, well, listen, I honestly think that I'll do a better job, frankly. But I don't want to steal a client from another agent necessarily. But if you feel like they're not strategizing your offers properly, then that might be an issue. Typically, when I'm working with a buyer who's serious, ready, willing, and able, and they have realistic expectations, I can get, even in this market, I'll get you into escrow within 2 weeks. And I have this whole year. Every single buyer I've worked with, it's taken me 2 weeks to get them into escrow when they're serious. There are some people who are like, see this house? I want this house. And I'm like, great. What's the price of that house? $2 million. Great. How much are you approved for? $1 million. Well, okay. That's not on me. That's not a realistic buyer, you know? But if I have a buyer who goes, I'm approved for $1 million and I think I should be looking at houses at the $900,000 price range. So if I have to, I'm able to write $100,000 overbid because I know that this market is really difficult. And some might not come to me with that in mind, but I will have that conversation with them and explain that that's probably what's needed. And then I give them what I call my quote unquote freebie, where I usually write that one first offer when they're like, well, let me just go $25,000 over asking price. It's like, well, might work, probably not. So in any event, so that's what I like to do, and just make sure that we're staying in contact with all these people. So are there any questions before we finish up today? Any questions that you all have? Anybody in the call right now, if you have any questions, write them in the chat box so I'm able to answer them. Again, our audio is just completely horrible today. So I'll wait to see a couple bubbles pop up. We're good on questions. You're good. You're good. Awesome. Well, cheers. If we don't have, oh, by the by, and if people wanted to do this today at 4 o'clock, if y'all want to go over to Porta Villa across the street, I told people that we would do a happy hour. So if anybody is interested and wants to do that still, I'll put the information again in the chat box. 1 second. Porta Villa, Beverly Hills, 4 o'clock today. Oh, George is not on, so 310-386-8590. Jared. All righty. So if anybody wants to join, it's 4 o'clock today at Porta Villa. I'm just going to go. I'm probably not even going to drink, but I know a couple people said that they thought that would be fun. So if you all want to do that, I'll show up and say howdy doody to everybody. Plus, it's always fun to take a couple shots with fellow real estate agents. All righty. Other than that, thank you all so much. So if you're interested on the call, take a look at the info I just put in the chat box. Other than that, cheers, everybody. It's always a pleasure. Talk to you later. Thanks.
Thanks, Jared.
Cheers, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.